and welcome to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people at Zero Time. And Dan, what a week of rugby league we have. The season is coming to an end. We are the run-in for the finals. Teams are scraping for it. 4 weeks to go. We have 4 teams locked in, definitely playing finals football this year. But what's the breaking news? What's happening?
Well, look, we're actually recording as Kyle Flanagan's been found guilty. So we're going to open with that, but we're going to wait till last because we're waiting on the decision whether how long he's going to be suspended for, rather. So we're going to just jump into other stuff. Now, full disclosure, we're not going to touch the Latrell Mitchell stuff. It's too serious for us. Go bother another podcast or another show. We're going to keep it fun. I am going to write an article on this starting tomorrow, so I want to get your thoughts. The West Tigers have sent something to the NRL. Now, I don't know whether it's going to proceed or the NRL is going to laugh at him. It's kind of a please explain. The theory behind it is that Stefano has left a team that is doing really badly to go to a team that is really good. Let's just stew on that for a second. And they've asked, is the salary cap broken in essence? Now, we've seen Blaise Talangi leave Parramatta to go to Penrith. And we've seen Isaiah Papali'i also leave the West Tigers to go to a better team in Penrith. Not hard, being the Tigers, of course. One more shot in there. Is the salary cap broken, Terry, or are these just 3 instances where a young player's gone, greener pastures, see you later?
Are they writing to them to say the salary cap's broken because we just signed Jerome Luai on $1 million?
Well, that was going to be one of my counterpoints, so please go on.
Are they writing to them saying that the salary cap's broken, that we gave $500,000 to Sania Taruva?
Mm-hmm.
We gave nearly $1 million to Api Coruscant to come over and play with us? We gave big money for David Clemmer to break his contract at Newcastle? That's just a terrible move. We paid an extortionate release clause and paid John Bateman big money. The salary cap isn't broken. What is broken is the West Tigers giving release clauses to players, and after 3 years of winning less than 15 games, these players turn around and go, you know what? In one season, Melbourne have won 16 games. I'm just going to go there and experience a little bit of winning for a little bit. Like Jerome Luai going the other way, right? He's got his 3 premierships, probably going to get 4. Him going the other way is purely a money thing. But the salary cap isn't broken. What's broken is your decision making. Given Stefano 2 clauses in his contract that he can activate if they happen at the same time. You don't play 2 games of Origin football and we don't make the top 8. And guess what? At the beginning of the year, before a ball was even kicked, I was telling you Stefano won't play Origin. The Tigers are going to come in the bottom 2.
Hit the nail on the head, mate. For all money, that Penrith team, if there's no salary cap, wouldn't have lost kick out. They wouldn't have lost. Burton's 50-50. He still wanted to play 5-8. You wouldn't hear rumours of Brian Toto wanting out because there's no way he's going to the Tigers for a challenge. He's going there for payday and a well-deserved one if that happens. Jerome Luai's not leaving the side of Nathan Cleary. Api Coruscant's not leaving a dynasty to go there.
Not leaving.
Mate, the Bulldogs would be nowhere near where they are because the players wouldn't have left to go over there. I don't think the salary cap's broken at all, and that's what I'm going to write. So this will drop after that publishes. Scott, hopefully you're watching, and hopefully that happens. I think the Tigers are wasting their time. So I can tell you right now why Stefano left the West Tigers, who can't win a game, for the Storm, who can't stop winning games. They're playing like crap, and they're still leading the competition by 2 points. They can lose to Penrith this week and still be topping the table. Now, it's going to take a 1 point or 2 point game, something like that. But it can happen. The West Tigers can go out and win by a literal 500 points this weekend and go no higher than 16th. And they're sending a please explain to the NRL for a breakdown. I bet you they get Craig Bellamy's email that says, well, we're not the West Tigers, and Stefano replies, done. That's the whole thing. They're wasting everybody's time, and they've got to look at the fact that they've signed $1 million 5'8", who just won an Origin series. They've got arguably one of the top 2 hookers in the competition. Top 5, definitely undisputed. They've got a superstar winger coming, who I think has got better this year and is no more just a catch and fall merchant that he got unfairly criticised last year. And we'll talk in one more minute. They've just signed another young player who the Bulldogs couldn't hold on to. So I think
Jarrell Skelton?
Let's move on. Jarrell Skelton, big boy, former Union star. Okay player, hasn't had the greatest season to date, but the one thing the West Tigers lack is size in that back line. Because if I'm a defender, mate, and you give me either Charlie Staines running the ball back or Jarrell Skelton, I know which one I'd rather tackle. What do you reckon of the signing?
Oh, I couldn't even pick Jarrell Skelton out of a lineup.
Been
So,
good.
yeah, if you put 6'6" dudes in a row, I wouldn't be able to tell you what he looked like. I think he's played a couple of first grade games this year, but again, I don't pay too much attention to the Dogs. Really, outside of Cronulla games, I don't pay a whole heap of attention to a lot of things. I like it in the fact that a few years ago it was tough getting players to go to bad clubs, right? And you'd see clubs like Newcastle when they had their 3 wooden spoons in a row. They were throwing big money at players and getting rejected, right? And they landed the prize fish with Kalen Ponga. No doubt. They landed that prize fish there with Kalen Ponga. And that was a huge signing for them. But what Newcastle then went and did was, well, let's go and find the young kids that need the opportunity. And I think that's what Wests have done. And they had the Harold Matts team for a little while. They had a good SG Ball team. The Jersey Flegg team's okay-ish, right? But that's what they need to do. They need to be going and finding these. Like, I think they really missed a trick. If you're going to go and get Jarrell Skelton, by round 6 this year, they should have signed Kay Lero.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so they need to go and find the guys that are, like, stuck behind someone and, like they should be knocking on Penrith's door going, what do we do to get Paul Alamoti? Like, you've just signed Blaze Tongue, you've got Isaac Tungo. How do we get Paul Alamoti? How do we go and get these other... they've got to go and find the next superstar kids rather than keep going and throwing overtures at players. I bet you if they could right now, they'd be getting rid of David Clemmer's enormous salary to bring in 2 or 3 other players. So, look, the only way is up from the Tigers, and I would say that as a literal piss take. If an 18th team comes into the competition and they get the wooden spoon, boot them. Just boot them. But they're on the right path at the moment. It's an okay signing. And it's one of them signings where if he works out, you turn around and go, geez, they got a good one. They must have got him cheap, blah, blah. And if it doesn't work out, you get people like me turn around and go, who's Jarrell Skelton?
It's a 2-year deal, not big money, being reported. I think it's a risk we're taking. If you see me look at my phone, I'm trying to break the Kyle Flanagan news, even though we'll drop 24 hours after everyone else. So I don't know why I bother. I think it's a good signing in that it means Charlie Staines won't be playing on the wing for the Tigers. And I'm not a huge fan of Charlie Staines.
Well, really not though. Like, who's their other winger?
It ought to be Taruva. So they've got two.
Yeah, I mean, is Skelton better than Charlie Staines though?
Well, I don't think he's any worse. I think the upside is big. This is a guy who's tears up New South Wales Cup. Now, we said that about a lot of players that haven't come up. But he played pretty well for the Dogs for the last few weeks. But Skelton's probably looked at Addo Carr and thought, this guy doesn't age. He's looked at Kiraz, who is quickly becoming one of the superstars of the NRL on the wing or at centre, wherever he plays. He's looking at Bronson Xerri and thinking, well, that kid's everything we thought he would be and then some. And he looks at Stephen Crichton and says, well, there's the best centre in the game. Connor Tracy's made that fullback position his own. And if not, there's 15 utilities that could fill in there. So Skelton's seen an opportunity at the Tigers. I think he and Taruva are a big improvement on what they're running out at the moment. Not hard, but I think they've looked at a big body and said, we need some size. Yeah. Dream Buller's a fantastic player, but he's small. Mm-hmm. Taruva's a really good try scorer, but he's small. We need someone that can run for 200 metres and not have to go sideways and get flogged. So
Taruva is a metre eater on his day. The problem is if he doesn't get early touches of the ball in the game, sometimes you can find him not interested. And he'll score 2 tries. And you're like, man, Taruva had 2 tries. He also had 49 metres as well. So, yeah, look, they've got to try something new. And going and getting a young player who's stuck behind is better than going and offering $500,000 to a guy who's literally only going to go there for money.
I agree. It's a good... so the NRL is seeking 4 to 6 weeks. The Dragons are suggesting 2, so we might actually not get this in, but if not, we'll edit something and send it through. But let's move on to something that has been decided, and that is Cody Nikorima is re-signed to the end of 2026 for the Dolphins. I love this kid. I think he's playing out of his skin. He's made that position his own next to young Katoa, and I'm excited to see him re-sign for the Dolphins.
I love the emergence of Cody Nikorima. I think, you hear me talking on podcasts of my devoted love for Jamal Fogarty. And if I could put a partner next to Jamal Fogarty, to show unabashed and unashamed love for someone who doesn't play at my club that isn't a superstar, it's Cody Nikorima. As you said, last year it was Katoa and it was Sean O'Sullivan. And, young Katoa was only a rookie, so he was in and out of the game. Cody Nikorima came in. He played fullback. He played centre. He played hooker. He bided his time. He's been given the opportunity this year. He had a real good preseason. He's taken his chance. And the one thing that he had to do this year was not only play well, but bond with Katoa, because Katoa is the future of that club. And he could be playing exceptionally well, but if that combination with Katoa wasn't winning games, guess who was getting dropped? Cody Nikorima. So he's not only gone out and improved his form, but he's improved his combination. And that's just not working with the kid at training and working with the kid on the football field. That's lifestyle. That's like hanging out with him, doing all these other little things to make sure that combination. You heard Cody Nikorima talk about it on a podcast recently when he said when this combination was clicking, he stopped doing what he was doing to take the time out with Katoa to learn about him, to understand more, to get a reading of, everything that he does in life. And that's why this combination's working really, really well. Cody Nikorima, wow. What a season he's had. Would be right up there for the most improved player if the NRL ever gets off their ass and gives that trophy out.
Well, we can do one of you on zero tackle, mate. I can do what I want. This is recorded before Scott gets a say, so let's make it happen. Yeah, I love the signing. Everything he said I agree with, and then some. The disrespect, though, to Anthony Milford, who was signed as a marquee 5'8" last year and absolutely didn't work out.
Is he still playing?
I have no idea. Yeah, he was there a couple of weeks ago. I think he played for about 11 minutes and just wasn't the Milford that we remember, or maybe he was. But if you want to check real quick, I love this. I love Nikorima. Last year he played a lot of fullback when the Hammer moved to centre. He played a bit of... We played everything, as you said. And he's just earned this. And I mean, on the weekend, some of the passes he put on, and Katoa's the main man up there, but you can't have a main man and no one standing beside him. So I love the combination, and he's still relatively young. It's not like we're talking about another Katoa, but he's not 40 either. So I'm looking forward to the combination blossoming.
Yeah, long shall it prosper up there in the.
Now, from two superstar youngsters to a whatever the hell Chad Townsend is, it's been dropped by the North Queensland Cowboys. They've come out and said, nope. They've put Jake Clifford in. He led their reserve grade team is called this week to a minor premiership. I don't know where they play this week. Don't care. Queensland Cup doesn't interest me until grand final day. Chad Townsend's been dropped. I want to go first here and say that it's 8 weeks too late. And I think that Clifford and Dearden were always the way forward. And I think the second he signed for the Roosters, they should have cut him, not from the club, because he's a good bloke to have around. He'll never give you any trouble. But I just would have said, okay, it's Clifford's time now. I think they've left it too late, and I don't think we'll see Chad Townsend play for the Cowboys injury aside.
Well, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think this is just a rotation because the Townsville... the Cowboys reserve grade team, as you said, the minor premiers, they actually want to win that competition this year and go and play. And Jake Clifford's been one of the best players in that competition. Chad Townsend isn't eligible for it. I think this is just rest. It wouldn't surprise me if Chad's back next week, but it's still hilarious that he's been dropped.
It is, and look, you're probably right. The sense. Here we go. The latest update is nope, still nothing happening.
No.
I think we just give it a miss. We'll just discuss the guilty verdict in a minute. I see some excitement by Cowboys fans. I've been reached out to a lot as a noted Chad not lover. Now, I want to qualify that and say, as a footballer, I don't rate him. As a person, he's great. As a podcaster, he's no good. And as a beer brewer, he's okay. So you take that. Good dude, won us a premiership, or he was there when we won a premiership, more accurately. I think this is a... I don't know if I agree that it's a rotational thing because this is a must-win game. And I think they've got a month to get the combination right and launch a title threat. Because I think they're going to make the finals. I don't think they're not going to win the title. I don't think they'll get past the first week, depending on who they draw. But I think they've got to get this combination right in the next 4 weeks. And I think they've seen Chad over the last 2 or 3 and gone, look, we've been winning it, but you were pretty dire. And then this weekend, he just got walked over in defence.
It's hard to say because like Jake Clifford is just Chad Townsend but 10 years younger. So I know there was all these raps on him when he was a young kid, but he's gone to Newcastle. He got his shot at the Cowboys. It didn't work. He's gone to Newcastle. It didn't work. He went overseas. It didn't work. He's come back. Hasn't really worked. There's rumours that he's going back to Newcastle.
Jeez.
So I don't know if this is going to be it for the Cowboys, and if it is, like, what's the upgrade? Like, what's the upside of bringing Clifford? I know you turn around and say, well, he's not Chad Townsend, but he's Jake Clifford. It's not like they're bringing in a young kid who is absolute, like, gonna light it up or is gonna be the next big thing. It's Jake Clifford. You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Townsend as well. Do you want a little bit of youth or do you want a little bit of leadership in that team? I think it's just rotation purposes.
I would, if I was Todd Payton, one, I would stop doing speeches because they're so boring. I would go to Tom Dearden and say, who do you want? And that would be my answer because Tom Dearden's the future of that club. I just feel like Dearden improves them defensively, not in a big way, but Chad Townsend he's a target, let's be honest. And Chad's kicking game over the past 6 weeks has been the worst in the competition.
Chad's kicking game over the last 6 years has been the worst in the competition.
Sure, I was trying to be nice, but whatever, the gloves are off. I have seen Cowboys fans pretty much blame him and Val for their loss this past week. Don't think that's entirely fair. Although Tony Staggs did take Valentine Holmes apart just quietly. In a lot of the season, they think they should be further up. Some would argue they should be further back. I can't see why you would drop him if there wasn't a plan behind it. Maybe it's go get your head in check, or maybe Chaz has got a virus and it just hasn't got out. Who knows? But I just feel like I think Dearden's, he and Clifford are a little bit better than he and Chad.
I think I was stressed that I think just prove me wrong next week. If he's not in the team next week, I'll say that he's dropped and he's not playing again. But I honestly think that because the Q Cup minor premiership has wound up, this is just the opportunity for Chad to, hey, go and sit on the beach, go to Early Beach, go somewhere nice for a week, refresh, re-energize, come back to training. The spot's yours. We got a nice run home of successive home games to get into the finals, and we probably need you just a little bit fresher than you are. Let's take some pressure off you this week because it's a game that we should win. Should have won last week as well. Let's go. Let's do it.
Beautiful, sounds good. Now, from something we know is happening to something that may be happening. So Mitch Moses evidently has contract. I don't know. Every Parramatta player's got a clause. Let's just assume that until told otherwise. There's been rumours that he may not be there by the end of next year. And, of course, everyone jumps in the group chats and says, we need to sign him, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's come out from the Moses camp either to say, yep, we're looking, or to deny it. Would you be worried if you were a Parramatta fan that they haven't shut that down, neither the club nor Moses himself have come out and issued it's not happening? They have done we expect him to blah, blah, blah. As soon as you hear the word expect, you think he's going. Or do you think it's a waste of time? Because every board journalist in the world, and I've not a journalist, but I've been guilty of this. I've heard a rumour and put it out there and thought, so-and-so's, he's looking around, or maybe he's unhappy, or you suggest, geez, he'd be good at the Cowboys, and someone drops it in the forum, someone else finds it, and suddenly it becomes fact. Do you need the club or a player manager or someone to come out and deny every rumour? Because if they were to do that, you would never not be hearing rumours denied.
No, I think if this had more legs than just one journalist rehashing a story every couple of days, maybe, right? But there's nothing in this at the moment that even suggests it's just running on one publication. You're not, like a good story or a good rumor will have multiple journalists, across Fox, across the Telegraph, across Sydney Morning Herald, in the Australian, that'll have lots of people talking. There's lots of, there'll be lots of things about it on social media, and the big groups the big groups that sit there and post rugby league all day would have stories about it. This is from one journalist at the moment who just keeps rehashing the same story because he's got a connection, and he's probably gone to Nick Politis and said, hey Nick, Moses has got a clause. You interested in him? He said, well, it's Mitch Moses. He just won an Origin. Of course we'd be interested in him if he came off contract because we don't know what Sam Walker's going to do. That's a story for a month.
True.
I don't think you need Moses to come out and deny it. I don't think you need the club to come out and deny it. I think the best form of denial at the moment from Parramatta and Moses is just to keep quiet and then reassess. He's only just recently re-signed. And if he's just recently re-signed and you've done, hey, you know what, we're going to re-sign you for 5 years, but you've got a clause after a year if we're terrible, it's bad business. Clubs need to start taking these clauses away. They need to start taking the clauses away. You know what clause you should put in there? If you're over 30 and you're terrible, you can leave.
See you later.
Yeah.
We both be in trouble. Look, I understand why Parramatta fans are edgy. They've just seen Blaze Talangi, who was the bloke that they've gone, yeah, but it's a shit season, but we've got Blaze Talangi. And he's come out and said, okay, the new coach has come in and offered me everything I want, and I'm still going to Penrith. So I can understand any time there's a rumour or a possibility, they get jumpy. So I get it. I want to see the club come out and I want to see them ignore 90% of things. Because if we're hearing Cronulla, Kaliro's talking to so, okay, he's a rookie. He's a good rookie, but whatever. But if it's Mitch Moses, who's just won an Origin, and you've just lost Blaze Talangi, I'd want to put Jason Riles on every NRL show, this one included, saying, no, we're building the club around him and Dylan Brown. They're both re-signed. Dylan Brown's got some ridiculous clause, I think, at the end of next year, but it's for the year after or something. What Jason Riles has got to do is go into the board and say, oi, give me some contracts, white out these stupid clauses, FedEx them, or however we do it these days. Someone younger than me tell me. You get them sign contracts. There you go, RMX them, and it'll never get there. Just put it in front of them and sign it so there's no clauses. So when they say, we got Mitch Moses for 5 years, you got him for 5 years. I think Parramatta have made their bed, and in this instance, they need to come out and say, no, Mitch Moses is not going anywhere unless a comet hits the exact, on this date and blah, blah, blah. And then Parramatta fans will still look up. Because the way their clubs run, it'll probably hit on the exact same second they say. So I'm getting annoyed thinking about it because I feel bad for Parramatta fans, and I never thought I'd say those words publicly.
I feel bad for Parramatta fans, but at the same time, you have to, I want these Parramatta fans to feel bad the same way that I want the Tigers fans to feel bad that your club is allowing this to happen by putting clauses in there. Imagine for us, Dan, if we had said, we're going to re-sign Nicho Hynes for a further 5 years like we did, but every year we don't make the top 4, you're free to negotiate with a rival club. Because that second year, last year, when we finished 6th, Nicho Hynes could have gone and negotiated. And if we fall out of the top 4 this year, he's injured with a broken leg. And if we finish 5th, guess what? He can go and negotiate with the Dogs who finish 4th.
It's pretty
It's these ridiculous clauses. The only clause that you should be putting into a contract is you're signing for 5 years. The 5th year is a mutual option or a club option. Don't give player options. Make it a mutual or a club option and that's it. Don't give if it's not 30 degrees for 3 days in a row in March, we have to see if we can get 4 in April, and if not, you can go and leave, because players will just leave these days. But if you're on 600,000, some club out there thinks you're worth 650. And if you get that 650, another club's going to turn around and go, well, shit, we would have paid you 700.
Exactly right. Breaking news, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Flanagan has been found guilty of biting. We know. We said that in the intro. And he's copped 4 matches, which rubs him out for the rest of this year. I think they took the easy option on this. I know you're a lot more heated than I am. What are your thoughts?
I think that's a terrible, terrible look. He's essentially been given the same punishment as Jack Whiten and I think less than Kevin Proctor, and he caused more damage.
Proctor got 6, yeah?
Yeah, Proctor got 6 weeks.
And Whiten got 4.
And this was a proper, that's really bad.
Do you think, playing devil's advocate here, do you think the fact that Crichton was holding him down and lent in had any bearing on it?
No, because they rejected that for for Jack Whiten, and they rejected it for Kevin Proctor as well. Because Kevin Proctor turned around and said, Sean Johnson's mouth was in my arm and it stopped me breathing, and the NRL turned around and said, you know what? You've got a nose.
Well, looks like Flanagan's gone that and then gone num num num. We can say that now without fear of reprisal.
I saw a great meme today, and it was Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs with Kyle Flanagan's head, and it said "Flannable actor." I'm all over it. He's got to wear that.
That is fantastic. Look, he does now. It happened in there. It's been ruled as such. We said on Outlaws when we recorded before it went to tribunal that was pretty open and shut. We didn't want to say it was definitely going to happen, but it was definitely going to happen. Evidently, they threw a really, really good defence, and I think that's paid because 4 instead of 8. Because as you said, this is a bad one. There's not a good bite, but this is a bad one. I think 4 weeks is really lucky, and I think the NRL have looked and gone 4 weeks to the end of the season. That's convenient.
Yeah, the other thing as well that I think they've taken into account here is that every single pundit on Fox has been really... Like, I have never seen Warren Smith tweet about any judiciary case before, but his buddy's son is before the judiciary and he said, well, Stephen Crichton's not going there, and if he's not giving any admission, the only thing that they can do is find Kyle Flanagan not guilty. Right? That was his legitimate tweet. His tweet was, Stephen Crichton is not going to give evidence tonight against Kyle Flanagan. The NRL judiciary can therefore only find him not guilty.
So
okay?
The video...
Yeah. Buzz Rothfield, noted pal of Shane Flanagan, was on NRL 360 saying, it's Stephen Crichton's fault. It's Stephen Crichton's fault that he got bitten because he pushed his head into Flanagan's head, and so Flanagan bit him. But that's Stephen Crichton's. Kyle Flanagan bit him, but it's Stephen Crichton. That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting, right? But then you get the independents. Like him or loathe him, Brandy Alexander is really independent when it comes to anything. Apart from Penrith, he's really independent on anything. And today he was on the radio saying Kyle Flanagan deserves half a season for that. So, like, that's where I was sitting. That's the worst bite we've seen.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's the only bite that I can remember that, one, not only had teeth marks, two, the player was bleeding.
Yeah.
From multiple spots on his nose.
It felt like the James Graham one was probably the only one I could think of because he went in and it was so obvious.
Oh, yeah, that was the grand final,
yeah.
right? But again, there was no damage done to Billy Slater's ear.
It wasn't. It was just the fact that they were zoomed in and he goes, I'm going to bite him and do it. Like, that's how obvious it was. This is a little bit... The fact that no one noticed probably played into this. If Crichton grabs at his nose, I reckon they take one look at it, they send him off and he's sitting down for 12. I think it's the fact that Crichton let it go and it, they use that as evidence. They're like, why didn't he make a thing of it? Why did he wait till after the game? Crichton's probably thinking, what the hell just happened? And then he thought, I got to go make a tackle. And then you don't know how football players think when they got the adrenaline and stuff. And evidently he went to find him after and confront or something. I don't exactly know. But I think that helped Flanagan in a big way. But I think if the match review committee did their job and saw it, I don't think Crichton needed to do anything. Because they would have looked at that tackle and gone, why did Crichton pull away? Why is his nose bleeding? Looked at one review and gone, he's gone for 12. So I think Flanagan should go to Crichton and say, sorry, sir, and thank you.
Yeah, I think if Crichton had made a bit... Like, if Crichton had done what Sean Johnson did and straight away said, he bit me, look, he bit me.
Oh, he's gone.
Flanagan's gone, right? And that's probably where you're looking at the 12 weeks. But I think the fact that he, one, didn't make the scene about it. He just said to the referee at the end of the game, hey, heads up, been bitten. It was Kyle Flanagan. And two, that he didn't actually go there tonight to give any evidence, and all they're doing is having a look at a video, and that photo suggests that Kyle Flanagan's a very, very lucky boy to only get 4 weeks. And a long list of biters in the NRL now.
Yeah, they're adding up. But there you go, some breaking news that will drop tomorrow after 12 hours after. But breaking news here as we wrap up on the Knock On.
Everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Knock On podcast, brought to you by the good people at Zero Tackle, your one-stop shop for all things rugby league. We've got transfers, we've got news, we've got contracts. We get breaking news on the show 12 hours later in your ears, but we broke it. We also have the best independent writers in the country covering the sport that we love, and one of them I am lucky to call a really good friend and a co-host. And Dan, we've already heard about your story that you've got coming for the salary cap, and Scott can't do anything about it. But what else can't Scott do about it this week? You tell us.
Well, I could throw anything out because last week the Johnson hit really, really well. I was really excited about that. Look,
did Annette actually help you with that, or did she just try and take some clout?
No, I messaged her and said, "Oh, here's what I've got. Am I missing anything?" And I swapped one based on her. So yeah, absolutely, she did.
Shout out to that.
With these top tens, there's always 8 you can think of, and there's you're thinking, and then you send to your mates. They go, "Yeah, but what about?" And you're like, I knew I forgot that. And I didn't want to miss this because I really like Johnson. Whereas usually, if it's a Cronulla one, whatever, I'll wear that. But look, keep an eye out for the salary cap one. This is one that I'm going to put a lot of effort into. Not to say I don't, but this is one that I'm really going to... Look, it's probably going to end up in me copping random Facebook messages again. But look, that's what we're all here about on Zero Time.